This is chapter 2 of Biological Science, class 10, the energy releasing system. This is the diagram of where the respiration takes place, alveoli. These are called as alveoli. Okay, where the exchange of gases takes place, that is oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is released out. It's a process by which food is broken down by release of energy. Respiration is also referred to as a process involving passage of air and production of body heat. Not only the passage of air takes place, but also the process by which food is broken down by release of what? Energy. And the process involving passage of air and production of body heat. Body heat also produced by what? By respiration. So it is an integrated system of organs involving in the intake and exchange of oxygen and carbohydrates between an organisms and the environment. So what it is doing? It is an integrated system of organs involved in the intake of what? What our organs needed? Our organs needed oxygen, that is which is supplied by the blood stream or the blood, and blood carries the blood vessels present inside the lungs or the alveoli will just collect the oxygen from the alveoli and passes through the different parts of the body, and carbohydrates between an organisms and the energy. From his experiment, Lavoisier thought that the gas liberated on heating charcoal was like fixed air. Lavoisier also showed that whatever it was in the atmosphere helped in burning of phosphorus. Lavoisier noted that the air we breathe out precipitate lime water, while that after heating metal did not. What he has observed that when we breathe, that lime water, it will precipitate into what? Into a white color. But whereas the heating of metal did not. Lavoisier also found that something even beyond lungs occurs to produce carbon dioxide, that is fixed air and body heat. The path, he has described the path, how the things are taking place. From nostril through nasal cavity to pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, lungs and alveoli. By respiratory system, we usually means the passage that transport air into the lungs and to the microscopic air caps. From lungs to microscopic, that is alveoli, which are very small, where the passage of gases takes place. That is oxygen is taken in and carbon dioxide is released out. The inhaled air passes through the nasal cavity. Its temperature is brought close to that of body and it takes up water vapor from it. Air is also filtered in the nasal cavity. Okay. Epiglottis, a flap-like muscular valve, control movement of air and food towards the respective passage. We know when we are eating, our muscle cells or the pituitary glands and all the muscle cells our brain just tells our tongue or the muscles helps in just temporary closing the windpipe, so that it will not mix with the windpipe when we are eating. So it will just transfer the food into the esophagus, not to the windpipe. So what it is doing, epiglottic is a flap-like structure. It is like a flap structure, like it's an opening and closing. That's why they are calling it as a flap-like muscular valve, controls movements of air and food towards the respective passages. Okay, when air passes over the vocal cord in larynx, vocal cord, that is the larynx is also called as voice box. It causes them to vibrate and produce sounds. Trachea or windpipe channelizes air to lungs, divided into two, which are known as bronchi, one leading to each lung, one leading to left, one leading to the right lung. The bronchi divide further into smaller and smaller branches called bronchioles. Then again it is divided into smaller and smaller, that is known as bronchioles. See here in the diagram. Nasal cavity, nostrils, nasal cavity, larynx, then this is trachea, this is bronchi, these two. This is dividing into two. That is bronchi. Then this is again further divided into, see these small, these are known as bronchioles. Bronchioles finally terminate in clusters of air sacs. Then it will terminate into what? Air sacs called alveolus in the lungs, which are very small and numerous, in number. Gaseous exchange takes place in alveoli as blood capillaries take up oxygen, expels carbon dioxide. If all alveoli of our lungs are spread out, they will cover an area of nearly 160 meters square. See how much alveoli are present in our lungs. Breathing in the process of inhaling and exhaling is a process of inhaling. Inhaling means taking oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide. Diaphragm is a muscular tissue present at the floor of the chest cavity. Below our chest, what is present? Diaphragm. When the volume of the chest cavity is increased, its internal pressure decreases and the air from the outside rushes into the lungs. This is known as internal pressure. Okay. When the chest cavity is increased, volume, if you just inhale, you will just volume increases, chest volume increases. This is known as what process? Internal pressure. What pressure? Internal pressure. During expiration, the chest is lowered and moves inwards, and the diaphragm relaxes and assumes its dome shape. What happens if we expire the carbon dioxide? Our diaphragm relaxes and assumes its shape. Okay, whatever in which shape it is, it will just comes to its original shape. This changes increase the pressure on the lungs, and their elastic tissue contracts and squeezes out air through the nose to the external atmosphere. Our lungs are spongy and elastic in nature. That's why they will expand and relax. Because they are spongy and elastic in nature, covered by two membranes called pleura. They are covered by two membranes, and it is named, the membrane name is pleura. Oxygen is carried in the blood by binding to hemoglobin. Now we are taking oxygen, but all around the body by the blood. In blood we have so many things. We have hemoglobin, white blood cell, red blood cells, platelets, neutrophils, basophils, leukocytes, everything we have, thrombocytes, which are known as platelets. Okay, all these things or different types of cells are present in the blood, but only hemoglobin only will binds the oxygen, which is present in the red blood cells, which is present where? In the red blood cells. Above sea level, the concentration of oxygen is much lower, about 1/5 as great as the sea level. Aerobic respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen, producing a lot of energy, that is carbon dioxide and water. Anaerobic respiration and fermentation occurs in the absence of oxygen. Aerobic means utilizing oxygen and releasing what? Carbon dioxide and water. Anaerobic respiration means and fermentation occurs in absence of oxygen, producing less amount of energy. ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, the energy released due to breakdown of sugar molecules is stored in ATP. Each ATP molecule gives how many calories of energy? 7200 calories of energy. This energy is stored in the form of phosphate bonds. In all the organism, glucose is oxidized in two stages. In the first stage, it is converted into two molecules of pyruvic acid. What happens in all organism? Glucose is oxidized. In how many stages? Two stages. First stage it is converted into two molecules of pyruvic acid, and in the second stage, if oxygen is available, only if oxygen is available, pyruvic acid is oxidized to carbon dioxide and water, releasing a lot of energy. in stage 2. Whereas in stage 1 what happens? Only 2 molecules of pyruvic acid is present. And if it in second stage, when they will see the oxygen is available, it will oxidized. Here they will oxidize into carbon dioxide and water and also energy. If oxygen is inadequate, not available in a sufficient amount, how much it is required for the reaction to take place, it is not present. So what happened? Then the another reaction takes place. What is that? Pyruvic acid is converted into either ethanol or lactic acid and very little amount of energy. So what happens is it has to go under reaction. If oxygen is available, it will produce the carbon dioxide, water and energy. If not, what it will produce? It will convert it into ethanol and lactic acid and very little amount of energy. Whereas when oxygen is available, it will give lots of energy. Accumulation of lactic acid results in muscular pain. Accumulation, if more amount of lactic acid is present, so it results in what? Muscular pains. Yeast grows rapidly if it is supplied with glucose in solution. So if we see yeast develops when glucose is supplied with more glucose. Okay. Combustion of glucose gives carbon dioxide, water and energy. Animals, either terrestrial or aquatic, adapted different types of respiration and different types of respiration organs due to the habitat in which they live. So, in animals we have terrestrial as well as aquatic. In animals, depending upon their habitat, they have different types of organs for their respiration. Like in aquatic animals, like in fishes, they respire through gills, whereas animals respire through lungs, like that. The reason for the development of different types of body organs are body size, availability of water and the type of respiratory system. Tracheal respiratory system is seen in insects like cockroach, grasshopper, etc. In bronchial respiration, organisms respire with the help of gills and bronchus. Example, fish. Respiration through skin is known as cutaneous respiration. Example, frog, earthworm and leeches. So, different types of respiration is taking place by different organs. Gaseous exchange takes place in stomata of leaves. In other places on the plant life surface of roots, lenticels, on stems, also gaseous exchange takes place. Respiration and combustion differ due to the following reasons. How respiration and combustion differs? Let's see. Glucose must be burnt at high temperature in the laboratory to liberate energy. If it is happened in our cells, all cells would be burnt. When glucose starts burning, we can't stop the process easily. But living cells are able to exercise control over the sort of burning of glucose in presence of oxygen. Water normally stops combustion from taking place, while cells contain a lot of water and respiration still goes on. Photosynthesis is a process of synthesis or an anaerobic process, means in the absence of oxygen, which occurs in chloroplast, whereas respiration is a process of breakdown of complex food molecules or the catabolic process. Respiration occurs in cytoplasm and mitochondria, where it takes place in cytoplasm and mitochondria, where carbohydrates are burnt to produce energy. For the plant metabolism, both the photosynthesis and respiration are required. During daytime, the rate of photosynthesis is usually higher than that of respiration, while at night it is just reverse in most plants. Okay, let's stop here. We'll continue in the next video. Thank you.